人揃って Gorenger. What up, what up, what up, you guys? It's Blackwing 2040, and I'm back, baby. I know the last time I was on here, I said the next show would be the 2002 Superhero Time related shows, Hurricaneer and Kamen Rider Ryuki. But during my off time, I decided to watch the very first Super Sentai in history, and it's celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. That's right. I'm going to be reviewing Himitsu Sentai Gorenger. And I gotta say, with this being the first Super Sentai in history, it's nice to see how Sentai got its start. It's very, very different, but unique. Very unique as well. We gotta give special credit and shout out and love to the late great Shotaro Ishinomori, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't got Sentai, and if it wasn't for the success of Kamen Rider, Sentai wouldn't exist. So we thank you, Shotaro Ishinomori. I gotta say though, I didn't know what to expect going into this, besides the fact that this show is completely different from what we get in Toku today. No, this show has no green screen, no CGI. There's no Megazord battles. There's no redemption arc for any of the bad guys. There's no heel turn moments. It's just good versus evil. That's it. That's all you have. So I'm gonna start off with the synopsis of the show. It goes a little something like this. A powerful terrorist organization known as the Black Cross Army threatens to destroy the Earth, with only the defense organization Earth Guard League, also known as Eagle, to be able to oppose them. In retaliation, the Black Cross Army destroys multiple Eagle headquarters across Japan, killing all but 5 people. Now, these 5 remaining Eagle members are called to form a secret, powerful team known as Gorenger, the only force left that has a chance to stop the Black Cross Army and their evil leader, the Black Cross Feudor. That's the basic synopsis of the show. Now, the next thing I was talking about is the theme song. The theme song is very, very catchy. I can listen to this theme song anytime I want to, because it's not bad. It's just a very catchy theme song. Very, of its time, but I like kind of old school music like this. It's great. It's really great. Now, the next thing to talk about are these suits. These suits are good for the time that they came out in. Over time, it depends. Because as you watch the show, if you have to watch Gorenger, you can see that sometimes you can look at the suits, they start to deteriorate. But I can see the Kamen Rider inspiration that's happening here, especially with Akaranger's visors. And I guess the same thing can be said about the other visors as well. But I love the capes. The capes are nice. The popped up collars, really, really cool. And number designation on the helmets and even on the chests. They have like these. Akaranger has just one big yellow stripe on his chest, while the others have red stripes with the designation of who they are. And also with the boots, only Akaranger and Momo Ranger have white boots. I'm tripping on my words. Akaranger and Momo Ranger are the only ones that have pink boots. The rest of the team, white boots. The rest of the team, black boots. And I guess, of course, it's because they don't want the colors to like fade in or out, I guess, when it comes to filming. So it makes sense why the boots are different for said team members. And that's fine. But I feel like the suits are okay. They're not bad looking suits. And I feel like when you look at the Gorenger suits in modern day, like when they bring the suits back for like guest appearances in like modern Toku shows, like within either the Heisei era or the Reiwa era, they look very nice in HD quality. If I'm HD or 1080p quality, the suits look very, very nice. So that's all I have to say about the suits. Now let's move on to these characters. So let's start off with our first hero, Tsuyoshi, aka Akaranger, the first Red Ranger in Sentai history. Now, these characters are all one note. There's no really a developmental arc for these characters. Tsuyoshi, he's a good character. I feel like he's always the one drawing out the battle plans most of the time, especially with helping out the team, and he's always on the field, of course. And he's the leader. There's not really much I can say about him except the fact that, he draws up the battle plans, he comes up with the strategies to help the Rangers defeat the Black Cross Army in each episode. And yeah, that's really, again, there's not really much I can say about him, but he's a good leader. That's I can say. He's a very good leader. But yeah, the next character is Akira, aka Owl Ranger, who is played by tokusatsu legend Hiroshi Miyuchi, who's also Kamen Rider V3, Zubat, and here in Sentai, this is his first Sentai role, but of course he goes on to play another character in Sentai in the next show, Big One in Jacko, which of course I'll get to that later. I feel like Akira is barely around. I'm being very honest. As I'm watching the show, within like the first half of the show, I feel he's barely around. He shows up in episodes from time to time. I feel like he's more active and present in the second half of the show than he is in the first half of the show. And I felt like that bothered me a little bit. I'm just like, if all the characters are going to be active in a mission, where is Owl Ranger? So his characteristic, he's mostly the pilot. He, pilots the vehicles, Vara Bloom and Vara Dori, the flying fortresses of the Go Rangers. I'll get to those later as well. But yeah, I just wish he was around more. That's all I could say. I really wish he was around more. But cool character with the cowboy hat and everything. I feel like he has the coolest fit in the entire show. But I just wish he was around. All right, next up is Date. Date, aka Key Ranger. He has to be the comedic relief of the team. I feel one problem I do have with him, he gets kidnapped most of the time. Always, always, always gets kidnapped. Another one note thing about Daita, he's always eating curry. Always eating a bowl of curry. Sometimes you see him have like 3, 4, 5 bowls of curry. I'm like, my goodness. I know one thing when it comes to Yellow Rangers, especially the Yellow Rangers who are, like, say, they look kind of bigger, they tend to make them, the food eaters of the group. And I know that's not really much of a Sentai stereotype anymore, but it's kind of, I would say it just makes me raise eyebrows. That's all. Because if you're making the Yellow Ranger or like the character who's, kind of big, the food eater, I wouldn't. That's the only drawback. But he just Daita. Like I said, he gets kidnapped too much. He does leave the show for a certain period of time, and I'll go deeper into that when I talk about his replacement. But yeah, Daita, he's the comedic relief, the clown of the group. All right, next character I want to talk about is Peggy, Momo Ranger, the only girl on the team. Now, Peggy, I feel she has to be the best member of the team. Why do I say that? I feel like she does a lot on the battlefield, especially when they're in missions. She's always doing something. She's always busy. And she's a fantastic character. With her just being the only girl on the team, she's just as a great of a ranger just as her comrades. She's great. There's not really much to say about Peggy, but Peggy is great. For her, besides her being the girl on the team, she does get the work done. Always. Always. And I like that about her. Props to the first Pink Ranger. All right, our next character to talk about is Kenji, aka Mito Ranger, our first Green Ranger of the group. Funny enough, Kenji is basically the youngest member of the team. I feel he can be somewhat of a hothead. If you have noticed that, if you watch Go Ranger, good. If you haven't, maybe I'm wrong. But Kenji really can be a hothead on occasion, not all the time, just on occasion. But he's okay. He's okay. I do like his weapon choices. As a ranger, how his weapon is a boomerang and also a slingshot. I find that very cool. But that's not that's pretty much all I can say about Kenji. So yeah. The next character I want to talk about, the last ranger, is Daigoro. Daigoro is Daita's replacement. So basically, I kid you not, how he shows up, the the Go Rangers are in their base looking at drawing a battle plan. He walks into the room and he just says, Urusan! And they all look, they all turn around like, who are you? I was like, their commander is like, oh, this is Daigoro. He is Daita's replacement. Daita was transferred off to a different branch as an instructor. I'm just like, they just shoo Daita off and just bring in this other guy. But of course, behind the scenes, I believe as I was researching, I think Key Ranger's actor was doing a play at the time, so they brought in somebody to replace him, so that way they could still have a Yellow Ranger on the team, which is fine. Now, what's interesting, Daigoro, of course, he eats curry as well. What he is the first Ranger to die. He's the first Sentai Ranger in history to die on the battlefield. And I find it interesting that, the show would go this type of route. I'm not mad at it the way how they did it, but it's just very fascinating to me. For, the very first Sentai, we get our first Sentai Ranger replacement and our first Ranger death in the very first season. So it's fascinating to me how they went this way. And in the episode that Daigoro dies, Daita shows back up again to retake his place as Key Ranger. And yeah, that's basically it. So it's very, very interesting how they went this way with him. Very interesting. All right, so the next character I want to talk about, not really much for supporting characters. I want to talk about the Commander Itagawa. So he's the one, of course, giving the Go Rangers their missions. What I find interesting about him, he also doubles as a chef at their base. And anytime Daita orders curry, the commander's like, you're really eating all this stuff? I hope you got the money to pay for this. So the fact that he has to put up with Daita's antics every time, I always find those exchanges to be very funny. And that's pretty much it for like supporting characters. Now for the villain. There's not the main villain, Black Cross Feudor. His design is very interesting. So in the first half of the show, he's just a big white cloak like this and with white eyes. And then in the second half of the show, they give a costume for the actor, a big cross with a circle so that you can see the actor's face painted, and that's his look. So it's interesting how they went from the cloth look to the look that you see here in this picture. And it's crazy to me. But of course, he's your typical big bad. He's Super Sentai's first big bad. And what I find interesting about this character, he doesn't make any any combat moves against the Go Rangers until the final episode. And I find it interesting how he is also the base for the Black Cross Army. In the final episode, when the Go Rangers are trying to defeat him, he retreats and he turns into a flying fortress. Like his whole body just turns into a flying fortress. And so the Go Rangers fly into the fortress, place bombs in it, and blow him up. Literally, they blow him up. So it's interesting how he doubles as the organization's big bad, their leader, and also the flying fortress for the organization. I find that to be like a interesting twist, if you want to call it a twist, and they reveal it in the final episode. So yeah, there's not much to say. He's the main villain. There's not much to say about him, and that's about it. And the last thing I want to talk about with Go Ranger, I loved the overall production. Like I said, from a production standpoint, it is very cool to see all the practical effects. When they do the explosions, they have, these little sets that they use, to blow up, and it makes it look so real. I really liked that a lot. And when you look at the flying fortresses, like I mentioned previously, Varo Balloon and Varo Doreen, the way how they look and show, of course, you could tell it's like a toy that's flying through the air. But from a production standpoint, it works. I like the way how they do this. And I prefer Varo Doreen over Varo Balloon. I know Varo Balloon was the first Zord and the first fortress flying fortress for the Go Rangers. But something about Butter Doreen just it pops a little bit more for me. And I like that. But just, the explosions, the camera work of how they do things, it's when you see the Rangers flip, or say for instance when they want to make a certain motion or to make a look for the audience to seem like if the villains or the bad guys or the foot soldiers are like a bottom of the cliff, and they want to show it like how the bad guy gets to the cliff. Of course, you can't have they didn't use any wires, so what they do was they just reversed the footage. So I found that a very good filmmaking technique, just reversing the footage of course, the monster would be, or the foot soldiers would jump from the cliff and they would land on the ground, and they just reverse that to show like, oh, here they are at the top of the cliff. Very, very genius. And I like that. All in all, I had a good time with Go Ranger. The show's not perfect. It is very formulaic. It's the same thing every episode. Monster shows up, has a plan. The Go Rangers formulate a plan. They defeat the monster. Monster gets destroyed. End of the episode. And it's rinse and repeat for 84 episodes, which is a lot. The longest amount of episode in Sentai ever. But regardless of the formulaic stuff and the rinse and repeat beats over and over and over, I had a good time with the show. It's not perfect. I would say the show is mid. Of course, I know sitting through the same things over and over can get tiring, but from a production standpoint, I enjoyed it. But overall, as a show, I think it's mid. I just really do enjoy the production of what Go Ranger is. And yeah, folks, that's my review of Go Ranger. In the comment section below, tell me, what did you think of Himitsu Sentai Gorenger? Did you like it? Did you didn't like it? Or are you in between on it? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and click that bell to be notified whenever I go live or whenever the next YouTube review code comes up. Now, in terms of the next show, I'm thinking of probably watching Jacka just because it's the shortest Sentai ever, and I feel like it only seems right. And in terms of other reviews coming back, of course, I will be continuing to do the 2002 superhero time shows. I think going forward with how I'm going to do with the channel, I'll watch the Showa shows on my own time because I feel live reacting to it on Twitch, I know not everybody wants to sit through that, which is fine. If you can, again, great. But I know for the general audience, everybody can grasp the Heisei era / Reiwa era stuff of tokusatsu more easily than a Showa show. That's what I see. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this review. And until then, I'm Vengeance, I'm Darkness, I am Blackburn. Stay gold.